Let's see what each of these sentences has in common, and from that we'll draw out a particular error that you might see on the writing test. So, I like swimming, running, and to play baseball. So notice this doesn't sound right, but why doesn't it sound right? Well, we might expect that this should be something like playing baseball. And why does it have to be playing baseball? Well, note that we have this list of items: swimming, running, and playing baseball. When we have a list, we want to make sure all those elements are balanced. They're in the same form. And since each of these activities ended in ing, we would expect our third activity to also end in ing, not to go to this infinitive form, to play. So when you've got a list of things, you got to make sure that they are consistent with each other, that they're balanced, nothing sticks out as being in a different form. And this is what we call parallelism. These elements must be parallel. Let's see some more examples. After school, Bobby will swim in the lake, talk to his friends, and he is going to play with his dog. So notice we have here, we have after school, Bobby will swim in the lake, talk to his friends, and he is going to play with his dog. It breaks the pattern of the sentence, the rhythm of the sentence, the balanced nature of these elements, the parallel nature of these elements. So what can we do? Well, let's get rid of the he is going to play and just keep it as play. So the sentence would read, after school, Bobby will swim in the lake, talk to his friends, and play with his dog. This will applies to all three of these elements, so we don't need to repeat going to, because the will is already showing that kind of future tense orientation of the sentence. So all we need to do is make the different elements here parallel, and we are all good. How about this one? The new science textbook teaches experimental methods, theoretical concepts, and instructs students on proper technique. So what do we have here? We have this opening part. The new science textbook teaches. Well, what does it teach? It teaches experimental methods, which, by the way, is a noun. It also teaches theoretical concepts, which is a noun. But then suddenly we have teaches and instructs students on proper technique. We don't just have a noun here. We've got this basically verb phrase of some kind. So what do we have to do? We need to get this to match the same form as the other two. We need this to be a noun. So all we need to do, this instructs students on, is basically incorporated in the teaches anyway. Let's get rid of it and just use proper technique. So now the sentence would read, the new science textbook teaches experimental methods, theoretical concepts, and proper technique. Perfectly balanced. Almonds are a nutritious food. They provide high concentrations of vitamins and minerals, lower bad LDL cholesterol, and increasing good HDL cholesterol. Here we have a colon, which is properly used to introduce a list of things. But we have a problem with parallelism. We have they provide high concentrations of minerals, lower bad LDL cholesterol, and increasing. So we went from provide, lower, which are basically just the main verb forms, to increasing with ing on the end of it. Why are we switching that, right? You could, in theory, I guess, make them all ing. You'd have to change some things around. So you could do providing, lowering, increasing. But it's much easier in this case just to change this just to increase. So the sentence would read, almonds are a nutritious food. They provide high concentrations. They lower bad LDL and increase good HDL. So everything is balanced. He wants to meet Bill Gates, build a computer, and a new desk. Notice we have a problem here. He wants to do the following things. He wants to, you can imagine this is where the stem of the sentence is. He wants to meet Bill Gates. He wants to build a computer. He wants to a new desk. Doesn't make any sense. We need, in this case, a verb to appear at the beginning. So we could say something like, he wants to meet Bill Gates, build a computer, and, I don't know, buy a new desk. Whatever. You also, in theory, no, that's the best way to do it. We'll leave it at that. So in this case, we want verbs to be at the beginning. Notice the consistency in the phrasing in each of the elements. Janet claimed to not only know the answer, but also understood how to explain it clearly. This one is tricky. We already talked about not only, but also as a word pair. And recall, we said then that you want to make sure the portions after the word pair are parallel. So notice what we have here. Janet claimed to not only know the answer, so Janet claimed to know the answer, but also Janet claimed to understood how to explain it clearly. No, it would be Janet claimed to understand And this basic form of the verb is what we see here. So we have to match. Understood is if we said something like Janet understood. What we're saying is Janet claimed to know and Janet claimed to understand. So we actually need to change this to understand so that it's parallel with know, that form of the verb in the first part. A couple more. The teacher told his students that they should study hard, that they should get a good night's sleep, and to eat a good breakfast. This may seem like overly wordy sentence, but let's pretend this was the only portion that was underlined, so it was the only thing that we could change. What would we have to do? Again, make it parallel. All of these elements start with that they. So we need to start this element with that they. So we would say, and that they, in fact, it's more than that, it's that they should eat a good breakfast. Yes, it is wordy. Maybe we would prefer to make the sentence something like, the teacher told his students that they should study hard, get a good night's sleep, and eat a good breakfast. That would be great. But since we have this that they already repeated, or that they should being repeated, we should repeat it in our third element as well. Just be consistent. Last one, the alien is not only the one that crashed in Roswell, but he is actually quite nice as well. So this is again bringing up that not only but also bit, but notice we don't actually have the but also. So when you have not only, you must have but also later in the sentence. And once you've done that, remember, as we just said, it's got to be parallel. So the alien is not only the one that crashed in Roswell, but also he is actually quite nice as well. So we would need something like this kind of noun phrase. So there's a lot of ways we can do this. We can say alien is not only the one that crashed in Roswell, but also the one who is nice, though that's a little bit awkward in its own way. We also could just say the nice one. The point is we need to have a noun phrase of some kind here, not a subject and a verb and a new sentence. So that's why for this one, we would get either the one who is nice or the nice one. Now let's work through an example. Well, before we do that, let's just talk about the definition. So parallelism, definition here is that different parts of the sentence that have the same functions or the same importance must also share the same form or the same pattern. And you typically see this when you're listing out items. And then as a side note, not only but also is an important pattern that must exhibit parallelism, just something for you to learn and to memorize. So let's check this one out. Number 8. Nutritionists consider Greek yogurt to be a healthy food. It is an excellent source of calcium and protein, serves to be a digestive aid, and it contains few calories in its unsweetened low and non-fat forms. So what's going on here? We have, again, a colon introducing a list of things that we can just say about Greek yogurt. We have, it is an excellent source of calcium and protein, serves, this is probably, I think, going to turn out to be as, but we'll just say to be, serves to be a digestive aid. So we have is, serves, and then suddenly we go back to it contains. All we need here is the contains to make it parallel, because then the sentence would read, it is an excellent source, serves to be a digestive aid, and contains few calories. So nice and consistent and parallel. So we go with choice C. A, B, and D all introduce some sort of lack of parallelism. The only one that works here is C.